Hello and welcome to today's episode of Vibrate Higher. I am your host, Joelle. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are not new, welcome back. I was inspired to record this episode today because no one really talks about what it feels like to grieve the version of you that survived everything that you've been through. The one who held it all together, who pushed through the pain and kept you afloat, but who can't come with you where you're going. No one prepares you for the heartbreak of becoming the elevated version of you. I want to talk about that today. So let's dive right in. I was actually guided by my guides, really, just through a few things of just chance, not chance that happened to write down my story today. When I say story, I mean like just the peaks and valleys of my life in an attempt to really hone in on how I can better serve you as my tribe, what problem I'm here to solve for the world as a soul that intended to be here in this time. And let me tell you, if you have ever sat down and written out your life story from the perspective of the ups and downs and what they meant for your self-development and your expansion, spoiler alert, it can be triggering and painful. There's something therapeutic yet traumatizing about navigating through the caves of your mind to pull out the memories of hurt, doubt, struggle, etc. So I just finished my first draft of my version of my story, quote unquote, and I am feeling very raw, like welling up with emotion every 5 minutes as I think about this past version of myself type raw. And of course, instead of journaling, I want to bring it to you guys because some of you may be also in this space that I'm in, or some of you may be about to experience this space that I'm in. Either way, I want you to be equipped and I want you to have perspective. So as I'm trying to connect the dots between my experiences then and who I am today and who I'm still growing into, a part of me kind of looked back at this draft and I think, okay, girl, you have really overcome some shit. And then the other part of me feels like I'm still in the thick of things. Like, am I still this same version of myself from before? I'm just older, more seasoned, if you will. So the problems appear to be more sophisticated, but the bones of them are still the same. Or am I completely not that version of me anymore? I don't know that I have the answer, but I do think that's why I feel heavy and I feel raw. As I sit here with these feelings and these old memories, there's a knowing that I am meant to say goodbye to a version of me that settled in her love life, settled in her career, who didn't nurture her relationship with money, who showed up way too masculine in her relationships, who played small around her friends and family, the version who didn't prioritize her spiritual development out of fear. And I think in a way, these emotions I'm feeling are a realization of her. Just really sitting with how much she dealt with, how she numbed herself, how she just truly existed. Just living paycheck to paycheck at some points, struggling to make ends meet, but then also trying to take a trip or two, thinking she was thriving. And if I'm truly honest with myself, I've known for a minute that she needed to be laid to rest. I think I knew this when I committed to a higher level of consciousness a while ago, but I never really considered who she truly was and how she can't come with me. And I think that makes me sad because I am realizing today that I have to decide to release her, knowing that I will have to deal with like this pain of truly is grief. It's letting go of someone that you have known and loved for over 40 years. You've had firsts together, highs and lows. You've loved and lost. Today, I don't have a process for you guys. I just have some perspective to give you. And so here it is. If you have asked for expansion, if you are working to become your fully realized self, if you have called in more in your life, you will have to let the parts of you that kept you quote unquote safe for all these years go. And it is going to hurt like hell to lay that version to rest because they are all that you've known. And I want you to understand that when you let them go, you're not starting over or starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. You're not letting go of the wisdom that you got from them. You're letting go of how they thought, how they believed, how they behaved, how they carried themselves, how they showed up. And they were necessary. They carried you here, but they are not who you have to be anymore. They're not a match for where you're going. So if you've been feeling like this too, if you are straddling kind of the old and the new you, I invite you to do what I did and write out your story. Just write out parts of your life that stick out, like the challenges you've conquered in your life thus far, setbacks that you survived, obstacles that you've overcome. And don't worry about making it pretty. This is just between you and you. Just write it and see what comes up, see what needs to be released, and let it go. And know that once you've done that, it will hurt. But sit with that and see what needs to be released, because once you can lay that old version of you to rest, the only place you can go from there is up. That is all that I have for you all today. I truly hope that you are vibrating higher now than you were when you came. Send me a text about this episode. Let me know if you've been feeling this way too, and maybe you just didn't have language for it. Or let me know anything else you'd like to talk about. Also, don't forget to rate this podcast or leave me a review. So just scroll down on the main podcast page to where you see the ratings and give me a rating, leave me a review. That helps the podcast grow. Also, be sure to forward this podcast to anyone else that you know that wants to vibrate higher. I wish you all love and light, and I will talk to you soon.